In 2020, you ranked 19th in approaches from 50 to 75 yards proximity to the hole. There's your first statement. And the Pix golf ball I see you using. Why do you think it's a lie?
I think I'm better than that.
You are. You're actually 16th.
I'm Tommy Fleetwood, and this is Two Truths and a Lie.
This note is your two truths and a lie, which is going to then put us in a scenario where you're going to have a lie and you're going to have a shot in front of us. But before, because I know you're itching to hit it, you have to guess one of these statements is a lie. Two of them obviously are true. Are you ready, Tommy Fleetwood?
So there's three statements, I've got to pick one that's a lie.
Yeah, two of them are true. Ready?
Are any of them about you?
No, all about you. It's all about you today,
So
mate.
I should know which is a lie then, shouldn't I?
You should, it's about you at the end of the day. Unless, if we put mine in, it'd be horrific. In 2020, you ranked 19th in approaches from 50 to 75 yards proximity to the hole. There's your first statement. Since 2019, you've had 24 hole outs from off the green on the PGA Tour. In 2021, you were the 8th best player on tour inside 100 yards. Which one of those statements is incorrect? Would you like to hear any of them again?
Not on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah, we can't do 50-50.
The middle one.
The middle one, the second
Holing
one.
out 24 times.
24 hole outs, that's actually true.
Is it?
Yeah. The one that is incorrect or false, when I said in 2020 you ranked 19th in approaches from 50 to 75 yards, you underdid yourself. You actually ranked 14th.
Oh, very nice.
Which brings us to your lie, doesn't it? You're impressive, obviously, from this yardage. I've already lasered it for you. I'm ahead. I've done the prep. It's 75 yards. The flag's on the front. Talk us through your technique. Talk us through anything you see. We'll let you discuss a little bit of equipment if you want to, and the Pix golf ball I see you using, which is interesting.
Yeah. The thing with wedges and pitching, and I think when you get inside 100 yards, so I always so my 60 degree, I like to go 100 yards. I like having a 100-yard club in my bag. I feel like it's a whole number, and then I think...
And is that flat out?
Yeah, that's just a normal swing, what I would consider a full swing. Obviously, if I want to crank it up, I can hit it 105, 110, but like in general, I like to feel like if I just put a full swing, I'd like a 100-yard club, because I feel like anything under that then feels like a nice whole number. You work it off 100 very, very well, like mathematically in your brain. I think it works out well. So my pitching kind of works off that, and then I would say when you get below 80, it gets harder to have a position in your wedges.
Okay, so you have literally the clock face positions.
I have sort of three swings, I guess. One would be four swings. One would be full. Then I would swing to my shoulders, which goes 90. My hands sort of level with my shoulders. And they're always approximate positions. They're not like a rigid position. And then swing somewhere around the middle of my body, and that's 80. And then I'd have a smoother swing than full, which would go 95. So then I would, rack it up like that. And then if I get below, I think having a 50 and a 60-yard shot, which requires a lot of practice really, because I feel like the feel and the way that we practice it, if you actually look at numbers, you can get very close to matching your club head speed, ball speed and distance from 50 to 60 yards. Like they can all get pretty close in matching, and that would be a feel that was within yourself. And then anything in between that, I've actually picked like a really awkward distance, like 74. I would always say 70, 75 to 80 are like the more trickier distances, because then I feel like I've gone out of what is like, I call it matching it all up, which is 50, 60, and then I get to swing positions from 80. So like in that middle part's quite a tricky like yardage.
It's interesting hearing what you're saying about matching everything up and the speed. So this one's a tricky one for you. Do you take your 70-yard or your 60-yard swing, feel and add pace, add speed, or do you take your 80 or 85-yard swing and drop it down?
I always prefer adding. I feel like I'm better sort of gaining speed and being aggressive. So again, if I was to practice like this particular yardage, so I would hit some 50-yard shots. Again, matching the ball and the club is so important to actually what the outcome of a yardage is. So that's when equipment becomes quite important. 60 the same, and I would feel them shots. I would have a sort of vague description, and then once I've got them, I can obviously, if I can hit 60, I can kind of gain to 70, so I'll like have an idea of what that feels like to gain from there.
Show us one. Show us one.
So we'll gain from 60 to 74, right? Pushed it.
Good yardage though.
Good distance, but
Good
a little
yardage.
bit of a deep push.
How much time are you spending on this?
It varies. I think wedge play in particular, or these distances are ones that you can lose very, very easily. So like, you know, you go through a phase where you want to practice it a lot and you get really good at feeling it, and then so many different aspects to golf, and then you work on, you know, you move on to something else, and I feel like this part in particular is one of the easiest parts that you can lose.
Okay, so a lot basically.
Yeah.
And your practice is cones, yardages, TrackMan, what are you doing?
Yeah, TrackMan quad, like going on the course because I feel like visuals are so important. The more you can do where you don't need a visual, so it's all inside of you, I think is great, because you can stand anywhere in the world and know that you can do it, but also like the visuals are clearly an important part of golf, because that's always going to be there.
So visuals brings us back to the picks.
Yeah.
The golf ball. Do you use it for anything when it's sitting in the fairway? And also, when it comes to testing out golf ball, how much time do you spend here before you make any decisions on which model you're going to play?
Well, you know, you don't have consistent distances if you don't have the ball and the club doing exactly what you want. And the way that the wedge works is so important. From if I have a 100-yard club, so I mean, I want it to go 100 yards with the right launch and the right spin, and I also want it to work the right way around the greens and everything. So the ball and the wedge cover so much ground, so it's so important to be doing what you want it to do. And it comes the same 50-60 yard shots. I've just talked about matching the ball speed and the club head speed. Ball plays a huge part in that, and the way that the club is reacting with the turf and the ball. So it's vital, and without being able to do those things, I'm not going to be able to go on the course and trust it and play the shots that I want to do. So it's important to get that right on the range and on the practice area first, and to do that and then go out there and trust it and it be as natural as possible.
Okay. Show us another one then, mate. Treat us to one.
Hopefully this one gets better.
You can certainly see the window. That's pretty tight. That's good.
Yeah, both them spins will get good, you know, and like, even though they're not my greatest shots, they're not the straightest, and they're a bit of a push. A right would be my bias, but having them somewhere close to pin eye makes a massive difference. You feel like you've hit a very average golf shot and you get up there and it's like 12, 15 foot and it's a makeable putt from that yardage.
You mentioned right would be your bias. I know your wedges are quite flat. Is that
Yeah.
something that you think about and consider? And why do you
Yeah.
want right as your bias?
I think it's important to have one bias. I think when you get too close to, well, you want to be as close to neutral as possible, but I think having one bias rather than two that can either go either way, I think is very, very important, and it helps you make decisions. I think it helps you put a certain swing on it. If you know where your miss is or where your bias is, you know that one side's safer than the other, and I just think it's a constant in there that is very important for when you're playing under pressure, really. So like, I would always want my golf balls all the way through the bag to be falling on that right side of the hole. That's just what I prefer, you know.
Yeah, I like it. Right, let's find you some other lies. We'll get back into this. Right, you got 54 yards. Talk me through this one.
For me, it's going to be a full swing with a pitching wedge with a one ball strike, and that should get it.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Hit us one. Let's see what you're talking about.
Let's have
here.
a go.
Interesting.
Bit far, but it's pretty good.
A one ball strike. What is that? What are you talking about here? We've got one balls in the track with us.
So if you put a ball behind the ball you're hitting and made a line, that's one ball behind it, and that's where I would consistently try and strike a bunker shot. And that's like, so for me, if I had some constants in a bunker where I just wanted to play a bog standard golf shot, I'd have the ball on my left heel, I'd have my toe, you know, pointed out to a comfortable position, and I would face the club face would aim towards my toes, and then I would look at a one ball strike.
So the toe turning out is at a certain
angle. So the toe
angle,
turning
got
out
it?
is probably like 45 degrees if I
Yep.
was going to put something on it, but and then the club face would make a direct line to that, and then I would strike it a ball behind, and that would be my most bog standard bunker shot that I would try and have in my locker. And then pace wise, say if I was to swing it full, I could have like a certain yardage with a 60, a 52 and a pitching wedge, stuff like that.
So that obviously leads itself, then you do 2 balls and you do no golf ball.
Well, 2 balls is effectively, that's like the chunk and run that people talk about.
Show
which,
us a little chunk
you know,
and run. And it's not going to get there on here.
It would never get there, and but you know, I would concentrate on where I'm going to strike that. Everything would stay the same, and that would be like
run it out there down a long green.
Well, yeah, and it's actually like it's a legitimate shot. Like it's very hard. Sometimes you have back pins and you're in a bunker and you've knocked it up there on a par 5 or drivable par 4, and you have, you know, a long bunker shot to a back pin from a greenside bunker, and you don't feel like you can land it all the way. Just get one releasing out there, and you can actually play that shot like that's actually a golf shot.
And then what's the final one?
I would say it's half ball or very close to the ball, and that would be the one that you're nipping off and
gonna get some zip.
Yeah. This one's actually the hardest one because it's like goes against what you feel like you want to do in a bunker. You always want to use the sand, so it's always like the harder one to strike. But
okay. You know your yardages on all 3 of these.
I don't know the yardage on that one.
Well, we might let you have another go at that, but before we get there, we have to do your 2 truths and a lie.
Yes.
So before you redo that lie, in 2019, you ranked 25th in proximity to the hole from the sand.
Yeah.
In 2019, you ranked 4th on tour in sand saves.
Yeah.
In 2020, you ranked inside the top 10 in scrambling from 20 to 30 yards.
Yeah.
Which one is the truth? Which one is the lie?
First one I think is a lie.
Why do you think it's a lie?
I think I'm better than that.
You are. You're actually 16th. Backing yourself. I like it. Well, let's back yourself for this one then.
After the first one.
All right, we'll give us another 1 ball strike then.
Oh, fatted it now, Trotty, get up. There you go, that'll do.
No, it's pretty good.
That's pretty good. 10 feet, you take 10 feet from
I
there,
would. You did pretty well on the 2 truths and a lie as well. Well done, mate.
Thanks.
Good effort. I think we've all learnt something there. I like it.